two niggas spoiling movies. Yeah. Brandon Collins, that's me, and Justin Brown for your movie needs. Medium popcorn. Woo! You haven't seen it, well, we're gonna spoil it. Spoil it in your face. That's your warning. So if you get pissed, it's all your fault. Woo-hoo. Woo-hoo.
When you're a black woman who's in the creative field like film, you're going to get fucked. This is Eddie Collins.
Whoa.
It's true. It's true.
Guys.
I'm coming in hot. All
right, here we are, guys. Here the fuck we are. This is Justin Brown, and I'm here for the bullshit. Let's go.
Yeah, that's right. We are talking about The Woman King, directed by Gina Prince Bythewood, written by Dana Stevens, which we'll talk about because she is a white woman who did this story. But the controversially snubbed film that debuted last year at TIFF to great acclaim, was also very successful at the box office, despite us still having reservations about going out in public during the pandemic. And it talks about an amazing group of female warriors who,
now, mind you, this is based off of a true story, kind of, but this is not a complete straight truth. Like this is inspired by people who actually kind of lived.
Absolutely.
I guess a female warrior tribe.
Yeah, I mean it's influenced by true events and true people and stuff, similar to fucking what, and this is what I'm gonna talk about, like Braveheart and shit like that, right? Like that's what aren't 100% historically accurate, but those are films that talk about liberation and people fighting for their country and their freedom, and they all got fucking Oscar nominations and wins, and this got completely shut out because it happens to. I am convinced that I think that these awards need to start actually requiring people to watch what they vote for. Like, everything's so digital, there's no way that they can't track if you're actually watching something.
Yeah. Understand.
Because I'd be very curious to see how many people have actually watched the movies that they're nominating and stuff without just the cloud. And we'll talk about what I think happened with Viola Davis with this Andrea Riseborough. But I do want to put a claim to this film because I saw this film in the theater. I recently rewatched it. It is fantastic. There are some character. There's some flaws, definitely. I don't think there's enough character development with Naoi's group that she like comes up with as their training and stuff. I think they're just like supposed to embrace like they're they have camaraderie and stuff. Because there's that one feisty warrior with the dreads, the red dreads. Who is that?
So I think she was. I'm trying to think of.
She was part of another tribe, right? Because they were kind of shitting on her a little bit, and they were like, if she gets through the challenge, she's one of us. It doesn't matter.
Well, so basically, if hey, I'm kind of trying to tread lightly here because this is kind of contentious stuff. But like during that time, if you took over a rival tribe, you just absorb them. Into your society. And obviously, this is the time of the slave trade and everything as the slave trade really started to take off. So sometimes they would sell that rival tribe that they absorbed to the slave trade. So like, I don't, like I said, I want to tread lightly because there is rhetoric used by fucking shitty people that like, well, the Africans were all a part of the slave trade as well, and that makes it, this is their problem and things like that. It's a lot deeper than that. Don't be a fucking dick. But basically, she that warrior came from a rival tribe that got taken over, and then she decided that she wanted to be a part of this female warrior group,
Yeah.
So, at that point, she wasn't respected because they looked down on her because, like, you're not necessarily one of our tribe. You're an outsider coming in. But then they're like, well, once she becomes one of us, if she becomes one of us, she is one of us. So it's like, let's cut all the bullshit, which is like really what America should be.
Yeah.
But we're not. But we claim to be.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty wild, and like I really just appreciate seeing strong-willed women, especially black women, like in the forefront and being badasses. Like even and Naui, who we're introduced, and we essentially follow her. Like that's what introduces us to like what this group is and the train that's involved and all these things. She is essentially dropped off there by her adopted father because she refused to marry a king that was going to beat the shit out of her. Like she's like, I'm not gonna do this. Why would I want to live my life like that?
No, well, not a king. She doesn't want to marry some old dude who's gonna treat her like less than what she knows that she is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this group of warriors is led by Naniska, who's played by Viola Davis. One of the most badass opening scenes to establish how fucking brutal this group is. When they come out those bushes, I was like, holy shit.
Bro,
and those swords are not light. Those weapons are not light that they were using.
Let me just say, like, that is like one of the scariest things in the world to see, like, and I don't, when I say this, I don't mean like in a negative sense, just like these niggas, I know I'm using the word niggas here, but like, they come out like it was like almost like a pack of wolves just rise up out of the fucking grass. And then like they just appeared there. Like that shit's scary. Men, women, I don't give a fuck what they are. It could be fucking children. If a bunch of motherfuckers rise up out of somewhere and I wasn't expecting them, I'm putting my hands up. I put my hands up. I'm singing my song.
Put my hands up and sing my song.
Yo, it's just like whatever you need me to do not to die, I'm here for it. You got me. You got me.
Yeah, if I saw that, I would definitely be like on some do some people going to die? Like I'd be like, oh lordy.
Well, and that's the thing. Like I will say that the fact that those dudes decided to fight, I've been like, nah, bro, that's something different. I'm throwing my weapons down, hands up, and I'm getting down on my knees. I'm just be like, all right, I'm surrendering. I'm surrendering. Like I will not fight.
That's something different.
It's like, and you know me, but like you got to know when to hold them and when to fold them. That's a fold situation. That's a fold situation.
Yeah. You don't want to mess with that. But I would be remiss to not shout out the beautiful and immensely talented Thuso Mabudu, who plays Naui. She was in the Underground Railroad, which is she going through the ringer. I hope she gets to do a fun role at some point. Not saying that this wasn't fun, but holy shit, if you've seen the Underground Railroad, you know what I'm talking about. And she convincingly portrayed her love story, which I thought was a bit forced, with that Prince looking nigga, Malik. Nigga look like Prince if he were in a pirate movie. I was like, what is going on with this gentleman?
Oh God. Yeah,
I mean, he was ripped. He was ripped though. When he was in that naked water scene, I was like, all right, I get it, girl. But how dare her body be sullied by this French Zorro looking nigga? You gotta get, you know what I mean? Like I was like, oh, you got John Boyega right there. He's your king. Oh, can I also say John Boyega was eaten in this movie? It might be my favorite role of his since Attack the Block.
Yeah.
He seemed like he had so much fun with this. I love like just the side eye he was giving his wife Shanti, played by the beautiful Jamie Lawson. Holy shit. But like when he
Brandon.
Yeah.
I'd listen to whatever she got to say too.
So she was fucking that white guy, right?
What do you mean?
She was scheming or fucking the white dude that was like the colonizer dude, right?
No. She was scheming because she wanted to be the queen.
I get that, but at the same time, I don't know, man. It just felt like I thought there would be more there with like her scheming. Like it never really panned out in any way.
No, no. So I don't think that she was necessarily doing anything with the colonizers,
Okay.
in the sense of just trying to make her shit work. I think it's the main thing that what she was doing. She was scheming with the political hierarchy of the tribe. As she
Okay.
was making a bid to take over, when everyone knows that like Naniska was pretty much kind of really pretty much the next in line, but
Yeah.
she was making a play to over jump her. Basically, she's just like, yo, I'm in this nigga's ear. It's just
Yeah.
like, I can shoehorn my way, into there, but I also have the backing of all of these other women because they look at me as the future.
Yeah. And Aniska's just like, girl, I don't have time for you. Like,
Yeah,
I'm out here killing motherfuckers for the land. I'm trying to keep us out of slavery. What are you doing?
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I love John Boyega in this movie. I got a little emotional when I first saw this movie in the theater for a few reasons. One is just like you very rarely, like especially especially with award shit, you very rarely get to see Black women not going through a lot of trauma. Obviously, there is some trauma when Aniska's
Yeah,
backstory, which you kind of see coming a mile away if you know
yeah,
how
yeah.
stories like this unfold. Um, but it was also with John Boyega because I remember when when George Floyd stuff happened, he was at that protest and he said, "I'm probably going to lose my career for this, but like they got to stop doing this to us. Like this isn't right. The whole system has to essentially come down and shit." And a lot of Black creatives were like, "We got you. Like don't worry." And so he's in movies like this where he actually gets to be this these proud Black characters, which
Yeah.
is great because in Detroit they were putting him as like that fucked up police
Police
officer that had to deal
officer.
with all that trauma. We saw what they did with him with Star Wars. I'm so happy that he's like now in a different world now,
Well,
getting like elevated by Black talent.
well, you know what? I also think part of it is the fact is like, and like we talked about John Boyega on this podcast. We're just like, is he actually a great actor? But as we saw, it's like it's kind of the roles that he was giving.
Yep.
And that he was given. The roles that they gave him, they didn't give him much to do, or not even like they didn't give him great roles where really gave him an opportunity to flex his talent. And then now you see him in here, and I was watching this movie, I'm just like, okay, here comes John Boyega. I hope he gives me something good. And I was just like, damn, he's landing this shit. And as the
Bro,
movie went
yeah.
on, he just kept on hitting it. And I was just like, okay,
You didn't see
And
Breaking, right?
what's that?
You didn't see that movie Breaking, right? Where he's like the soldier that's just trying to get his check from the
No, no,
government,
no,
and
no,
he takes over a bank.
no.
It got forgotten last year, but I'm telling you, bro, like he's working with Black directors that know how to work with him and get what they need out of him. I think with They Clone Tyrone, which is with him and Jamie Foxx coming out later this year, I think we might finally be able to get to like him to the next level as a Black star. I mean, because to your point, like he's had some mixed performances, but I think that's a lot to do with what you said, like the kind of roles he's being given and who's giving those roles to him.
So the funny thing is, when I was on the plane, I was flying back from Texas yesterday. I
Yeah.
actually saw Breaking on the list on the plane, and I actually wrote it down to watch. So like
Yeah.
that's one of those films I am going to check, like, and something just told me, it's like I want to check this out.
Michael K.
It was something
Williams.
different.
It's Michael K. Williams' last role. It's really
Really.
solid. I can see why it didn't like quite break through in supporting actor, but in any of like the awards season stuff. But it's still solid. It's just that wouldn't have been a fun movie to watch on a flight because it's a Black man that takes over a bank, so you kind of have an idea how that story is going to end.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Yeah, we all know how it's gonna go.
But
It probably gave us the ending that John Q didn't want
geez.
to. Yeah.
But speaking of supporting, I mean, Lashana Lynch, dude, she's got incredible range. She was fantastic in this movie.
Yeah.
As like
Yeah.
essentially the person who like the soldier that took Nawi under her wing. She has fantastic moments. She's incredibly charming. I was like, how would she miss out on Best Supporting Actress in this race? I mean, I get it. Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Yeah.
like claimed up in that category, but she was fantastic.
Yep. She absolutely was. And like everything always and everything at once, like, yes. And like, you know, we spoke about that film and
Yeah.
how much we loved it and how much it was like a surprise. But like, yeah, like not even nominated. It's just like
Nope.
wild for me.
Nothing for this movie, dude. On a technical scale, this movie like fucking killed it. Like the
Was
action
fucking
scenes,
gorgeous too.
yeah.
It was
I mean,
it was
that's
well.
a problem. That's a problem because it makes us look amazing. Black people are beautiful. Dude, I wrote that down so many times. I'm like, we are beautiful.
Well, you know what? And like it's wild to me that like I think this is just starting to be seen, is that there are a lot of people, directors, cinematographers that do not know how to shoot light
Yes.
Black people.
Yep.
So like Black people on film for a long time have not been getting the burn because they're just like, I think that there's a lot of creatives that didn't know how to light them correctly, and then they strayed away from it because lighting a white or, you know, just lighter tone artist is a much easier process. But
Yes.
if you do it right, you're gonna get something just fucking amazing. And you see how gorgeous these women look, just like our skin tones look on camera. And like, and mind you, this is at night. This is fucking, a lot of this is in the dark, and like, you know, you're it's lit by fire and things like that, and how fucking authentic and beautiful these scenes look. And it's like, and also it adds to the tone of the film. It adds it you know, it also leans to like, you know, like, you know, the wilderness, the, you know, a bit of fear of the unknown, something like that. Like if you light Black people the correct way and you know how to shoot us, we will elevate your film. Because like it's a gorgeous fucking film. And like that's the thing that bothers me, because like, bro, I mean, the first time I was ever on fucking camera, and I remember this makeup artist, you know, did my makeup, and I look fucking terrible. I look fucking frightening. Like I look so bad, and like to the point where I'm just like, ugh, like, man, you know, maybe I should keep my black ass off of camera. But then,
oh damn, yeah,
bro, then, you know, someone actually then, you know, did my makeup, who knew what the fuck she was doing. And I was just like, you know, it made me look at myself in a completely different light. But like, just think about what I just said. Somebody fucked me up so bad where it made me like, I thought that I was
do this.
like, bro, no, it made me feel ugly. Because I saw myself on camera and I was just like, that's how I fucking look. And like, I didn't want to look at myself. Then someone made me just look like my fucking self. I'm just like, oh, look at this nigga right here. You know what I'm saying? Like, but like that's like, as a Black artist, creative, like that's the thing you have to deal with, especially when you have to occupy and navigate white spaces, you know, in the industry. And it's like, and people don't realize how important that shit is. It's fucking wild, bro. And like this film is just like a great, like this film, fucking Black Panther. There's been so many other films that have just showed. It's just like, if you understand what you're doing, you'll see fucking greatness. And I think that's also why a lot of people don't fuck with, you know, these films, because they're just like, they're not prepared to come to the realization that like, yo, look how beautiful Black is. And they've been denying themselves for years. And like, and some of it is actually, you know, some of our own people with the colorization, you know, in this country and within our industry, where, you know, they're just not prepared to understand. It's just like, no, Black, darker skin tone is just as beautiful as anything else. But like, the darker skin tone has not had the opportunity to shine, you know, no pun intended, the way that, you know, the lighter skin, because people just didn't know how to fuck with it.
Yeah. And shout out to the cinematographer, Polly Morgan, who is a white British cinematographer. But like, to your point, you know, she knew how to do the job. Also, I want to shout out real quick, because this movie, I mean, we're not going to probably review it. Robert Richardson, who did cinematography for Emancipation, kind of your point about lighting Black actors. that's a black and white film, and it looks gorgeous. Like the black people look dope, even though of course they're slaves. Unlike this one, we are fighting for our freedom. But yeah, man, like yeah.
I'll just quick on black and white. I've always felt like black and white was actually probably like back in the day is like actually black and white lended to black characters very well. The moment everything went color is when, you know, the problem really started.
Oh yeah, that's when blackface started becoming a thing, even though it was a thing in the black and white films too. I mean,
yeah,
literally,
but like
Birth of a Nation.
But I think that's when the, you know, the lighting these black folks issue became greater, and then it just got worse over time.
Yep. Now, speaking of the white creatives that, you know, were behind this movie, one of the producers was Maria Bello, who is from A History of Violence, as well as Coyote, Ugly. She researched this army called Oguji in West Africa and returned to the U.S. convinced that she found a great movie pitch. The movie then stayed in development hell for years. First at STX, which only offered $5 million for the budget. Jesus. Then at TriStar. Only after the massive success of Black Panther in 2018 was the movie greenlit with a $50 million budget.
Yeah.
And it ended up, you know, it made $94.3 million.
Mm-hmm.
It was a hit. I mean, and I don't think Viola and her production company would have partnered up with these creatives if they didn't believe in the vision. And obviously, Gina Prince-Bythewood, man, I know we had some issues with the Old Guard, which was like her last movie before this one, but her filmography is incredibly impressive. And there's never been a black female director. You know, you got Ava DuVernay, who did Selma. You got Regina King that did fucking One Night in Miami. Then you got this, and it's like, to be fair, all those movies are Oscar bait. Those are the movies that any white guy that directed them would automatically get nominated.
Mm-hmm.
And it just is incredibly frustrating that even if you check up all the boxes, they still won't let you in the room. And maybe we just got to stop giving a fuck. You know, like I was talking to Chris Lambert on our bonus Oscar talk, and we were both like, you know, halfway through the episode, I'm kind of like, oh, wait, why do I want to do this? Like, we don't care anymore. Like, because they're never going to do right by us.
Yeah.
What's the point? You know, Viola Davis.
But you know what? I'll say why you give a fuck. Because people want the acclaim for their work. People also want.
That's true.
People
in your obituary, that's always going to be, if you're an Oscar nominee or winner, it's going to be the first line. Always. Absolutely.
People also want to be paid what they're worth. And if you're not getting, this kind of rub, that's more of a reason why they don't have to pay you what you're worth. So like that's the reason why. And the people's like, well, we could just create our own. It's just like, yeah, how's that work with anything else that we've created on our own? Is like, then eventually, you create your own, which only is just a way for you to get into the main machine. And then, and then is all it's going to do is like creating your own just basically it's just like a stepping stone. And like, it sucks that, we have to be a stepping stone just to get anywhere, our own stuff. So it's this catch-22 that you're just you're just trapped in. And it's very disheartening.
Absolutely. And for Gina Prince-Bythewood, according to UVA's research, making this historical epic was a dream come true because despite dealing with a 7-year-long development process, she was determined to prove that Hollywood stories centering on beautiful, powerful Black women deserve to be seen. And I think that is true. I mean, this is a lot. Most of the department heads are either women or people of color: cinematography, production design, editing, makeup, hairstyling, costumes, and visual effects. Another, what were you gonna say?
No, I said, yeah.
Some more interesting trivia that UV have found. The movie is based on the kingdom of Dahomey, which was a West African kingdom located within present-day Benin that existed from approximately 1600 until 1904. The growth of Dahomey coincided with the growth of the Atlantic slave trade, and it became known to Europeans as a major supplier of slaves. As a highly militaristic kingdom, constantly organized for warfare, it captured children, women, and men during wars and raids against neighboring societies and sold them into the Atlantic slave trade in exchange for European goods such as rifles, gunpowder, fabrics, tobacco, pipes, and alcohol. I mean, that's literally why they're defending themselves. They're doing the trade to offset, them being attacked at the beginning. And then they still get attacked because that's how shady colonizers work. Well, they deny continuing the relationship with that British dude, and that's when he's like sends his army, which happens to be led by the dude that captured Naniska and also raped her, which resulted in the birth of Nawi, who was given away because the women of this warrior group are not allowed to have children. Like they give up. It's essentially like you become celibate. Like you're like a nun, but you're a nun for murdering.
Well, no, you give your life. You give your life and like you give your life to the protection of the king and things like that. So
it's like being a Black Jedi.
Yeah. In a way.
Even though now we out here getting plowed out by Prince and Purple Rain and shit.
Mm-hmm.
I really hated that nigga. I couldn't. Every time he was on the screen, I was like, I want to punch you in the face.
What was his name?
The actor's name?
No. The guy who
it's Malik. That. It was Malik, and I was like, of course it would be.
Yeah,
that's not his real name. That's not his real name is like Rarul or some shit. It's something exotic. He just don't want her to be able to track him down when she had that baby. He's like, I need child support. He's like, sorry, I'm doing this Neutrogena ad. I'll write you when I can. All right. Not all the jokes are gonna work, guys. I'm sorry. I'm
doing this Neutrogena ad.
I mean, it was very obvious that Nawi was her daughter. Once like Naniska started kind of like warming up a little bit and noticed her scar, she's like, oh, like the birthmark. She's like, oh fuck.
Yep.
And her right hand woman was like, there's no way that's her.
She's like, I put a shark tooth under her skin. And she's like, let me cut that shit up. Shark tooth, bitch. You my daughter.
Yeah, that was wild.
Well, also just think about that. You just gave birth to a baby and you had just some time with it. And you're just like, I'm going to cut you and put a shark tooth under your skin. Like, that's a wild thing right there.
That is intense, yeah. Also, I'm surprised that stayed in her skin.
Yeah.
The body wasn't ejected at some point?
Well, actually, I think the main thing is that it actually didn't get infected and she didn't lose that fucking arm.
That's also true.
Yeah.
That's also very true. Well, I'm sure she probably put it in a little flame to.
No, she didn't. No, she didn't.
No, they're not gonna show that in the movie, bro. She's a baby. They're not gonna show her like scorching skin of a newborn. You know what I mean? What do you want this to be rated, Justin? Jesus.
No, but I'm just saying money. She was just like, she's away. She's like, shark tooth. Okay.
Just be quiet, baby. Be quiet. It don't hurt that bad. Stop whining.
Take this shark tooth in your back. What?
He's like, open up your mouth, baby. Let me rub some rum on your tongue.
Oh God.
Do parents still do that? Do you do that? Do you put like rub alcohol on your baby's lips or something?
No.
That's some wild shit.
Well, I mean, that's something they used to do back in the day because life was different. But
there's so many things back in the day, and the parents just try to brush it off by being like, "Man, you all right."
But also at the same time, alcoholism was just out of control. So
true.
Yeah, so you wonder why.
Well,
baby was just like, baby was like, man, I was a little kid. I was already getting a taste,
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of their parents were smoking while they were in the womb and shit. Yeah, a lot of parents are like, I imagine it's tough because it's hard to admit when you like fucked up, especially if you see like the ramifications in front of you with your children of like how fucked up you fucked up. But
it's like,
it's important to address that shit, because if you don't, the kid's gonna go to therapy and be like, "Oh, you fucked me all the way up." It's like, now let me explain.
So it was the times, you see, and back in those times.
Like when Naniska's trying to talk to Dawi, I'm like, this isn't the best way to talk about this in this nice warm bath, and then cut her arm open and be like, "You are my daughter." You're like, oh shit.
I put a
This
shark
is-
tooth under this girl's skin, and she's just like,
Well,
shark tooth, bitch.
yeah, to
I'm
be
your
fair,
mama.
it's not like it would be weird if Dr. Phil just popped in the hot tub and was like, "Hey, now, ladies, let's talk through this."
You need to talk to your daughter.
Catch me outside. How about that? Like, you know, she makes like millions of dollars a month or some shit on
And
OnlyFans.
Yep.
That's wild, man.
You know what, man?
We should do
Sometimes-
OnlyFans.
Yeah, man. We need to get a Medium Popcorn OnlyFans account, and you know, and we need to do some weird stuff on there.
Oh yeah. I'm willing to do enough.
Listen,
If
man.
the price is right.
Listen, I know people are into it. I'll put some peanut butter on my feet. Let's put some, just start putting on different kinds of butter and sauces on my toes, and just it's like, hey, check it out. Who them foot fetish niggas?
I mean, that's a little nasty, but that's a lot better, less exposure than what I had in mind. So
Exactly.
That's probably the best.
That's why I said my feet.
I was definitely like thinking above the feet. So I'm glad we're staying this.
See, I'm thinking about putting peanut butter on feet. You're talking about fucking a jar of peanut butter.
Oh, those slave traders were Portuguese, by the way.
Yeah.
Not British, like I said.
Malik was actually from Brazil.
Yeah, and he's half a Dahomian, right? So that's like why, like
Yes.
You know, he's a little swirly and stuff. He is. What's wrong with saying swirly?
He's swirly. Yeah. So his mother wanted him to go back to his home.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Ali, for the trap. I really didn't like the tribe name. It's like the home.
But that's a real place, though. You know, I mean,
know,
like,
but
maybe we took it from there. You know what I mean? Like Dahomey, you know?
Okay, so back to Malik. So his mother, she was obviously living in Brazil. So she was taken. She was sold into slavery, and like then she became, I get, obviously Thomas Jefferson kind of situation, but like she had never been back to her home, because she's told me, so her dying wish is like that you actually get to see where, you know, my home is and things like that, where you come from. So that's why he's there, and that's why also he's trying to help them, because, you know, he's doing it, you know, for his mother, basically.
Yep. Hey, I mean, you know, he does run off like a little bitch, but he does kill that one colonizer dude, so that helped a little bit. But that was so abrupt, way like when they're running to the boats and then he just drowns him. I'm like, well, you're gonna have the answer to that, buddy. Like, you're not gonna be able. Isn't he gonna have to answer for drowning the head of the?
No, he
slave
didn't
trade
drown
dude?
them.
I thought that guy drowned. The white dude.
Bro, the other dudes, the other slaves that he was like, all right, y'all come with me, we bought y'all anyways, and he was going to take them to the boat. He unlocked them, and then they attacked
Oh
him.
yeah, that's right. They killed him. Yeah.
They killed. No,
right.
they beat that nigga to death and drowned him.
Well, you know, when you play stupid games, you're gonna win stupid prizes. So
No, I really hate that fucking saying. I really hate that fucking saying, because like I feel like it's the white people love it, especially online, and I'm just like, fuck you guys. But like, yeah,
turn it right back on them. Turn it right back. You treat people like shit. All it takes is for them to get a look. This is the biggest fear in all these slave movies. Like in I talked about Emancipation. Ben Foster has a monologue about it. Leonardo has a monologue about it in Django Unchained. The biggest fear all these white people had was that black folks would finally get wise that they could easily kill the white oppressors.
Yeah.
If they really like got together and like fought back, they could easily kill them. They just happen to have guns. That was their biggest advantage.
Bro, but it's not even about guns. I mean, there's a reason why slavers didn't want didn't want their slaves to have the ability to read.
Yep.
It's just like, because knowledge is the way to power. And it's like, and if we cripple their knowledge, then they'll always be easy to take over and take advantage of. Also, people look at our schools and things like that. It's the same exact story, and it's the same exact blueprint on how to to control people that's been done back in slaves times, that's actually being implemented today.
Yep. Absolutely.
Wow, wild shit, but real shit.
Yeah.
Now, Ali said in the chat, is like, he asked if we could please discuss the last 5 minutes of this movie. Is like, it was a wild massacre. I feel like this is why the movie didn't get any recognition. So what Ali is actually referencing is when basically, so now he actually gets captured.
Yep. Her
She
and
gets
Latasha Lynch's character, they get captured.
And a few other women. So they get captured, and basically they're going to be sold into slavery.
Yep.
And or become
mistresses or whatever. Yeah, it's gonna be bad. No matter what, it's gonna be bad.
Yeah,
it's gonna be really bad.
And so Niska finds out that, all right, this is where they are, and she was just like,
because remember, Nawi tells that one woman, she's like, jump over.
Yeah, you're not tied up.
You're not tied up. Jump over. So she reluctantly does it and is able to get back to the village and stuff.
So basically, so she's gonna go there on her own. She's gonna go. She's basically about to go on a suicide mission again.
Oh yeah,
bad news bears.
That's her daughter, though. That's her daughter, and she's gonna. Yeah,
that's her blood. So shark tooth and all. But like, then everybody else kind of finds out. John Boyega was just like, no, you're not going back there, because you're about to become the the queen, the woman king. And then she basically is just like, nope, this is what I'm gonna do. And she goes to leave. Everybody else catch winds, and like the whole like a big part of army goes and follows her to go there and get their people back.
Yeah.
This leads to them going into like the colony, and the slave trade like quarters, and freeing their people, freeing all the other slaves that were there, and basically torching this fucking place and killing everybody that's in that bitch. And like, and to Ali's point, like, that massacre is wild. It's wild in a sense. It's just like, oh, they took no prisoners. They were just like, it's like, nah. And in a way, it's like, you're is like, they of course these people deserve it, because because we know the atrocities that they're committing. But like, I can see how some people are just like, and then they just go and then they just kill all these people, and they have numbers like, yeah, but if you understand the history, you know why exactly they did this.
Yep.
And like the everything that could come of this. But I could see how people are would be off put by how that scene played out, but it wasn't necessary evil, especially in that time. But if somebody was just like, well, I can't vote for this, that was brutal. It's just like, yeah, but slavery was pretty brutal in its own right.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, Hollywood is very finicky when it comes to Black people fighting back against their oppressors, and I guarantee you, if Black Panther 3 goes where it seems like it's going, right, where it seems like it's going to be Wakanda against America at some point, best believe all the critics that praised the first two are going to be like, ooh, I wasn't very into this one. And so, the brutality and the honest, I'm uncomfortable. Because that's just going to get worse. Look at what Florida's doing with the AP African-American studies and stuff. They're trying to repress our history. It's crazy. That's why I do things like Drunk Black History. It's not the easiest show to put on, but I do it because we need to keep that knowledge out there. The schools where we grew up, they barely talked about Black history in a effective, memorable way.
You know what? And, not to really get into that, but I think, especially on this episode and, what we're speaking about, and like where the Santos, whatever, that piece of shit, said that it's because they put queer theory in there, and that, what does that have to do with Black history? And then like also defunding the police, not defunding the police, abolishing prisons, the prison system. For one, I would just take the easiest one, is like in an AP Black course, do you think that the prison system would be spoken highly of, being that what the prison system has done to the Black communities and how it's been basically a hawking after that since the beginning of time? So that's one. But then talk about queer theory. Queer theory was actually brought about by a Black queer, I believe it's a woman, Black queer woman. And so like that is a part of Black history, and that comes from like Stonewall and everything like that. So like it's like, and the funny thing is, that report, that he said this is why we did it, and I see Black people saying it's like, what is Black, they shoehorn queer stuff in with ours and whatever, but it's like we have been on that front from the beginning, because that is a part of the same fight. And like and so like I just want people to realize that like all of that is bullshit. And if like you're not for it, you got to understand like that is our history and that is a part of it. And like just like please just don't fall for his bullshit, because they're just trying to make this is just the reason they're giving to make sure that they can just abolish all of our shit all out of the history books.
Well, I mean, yeah, because you're right. We shouldn't go all the way down this rabbit hole, but folks, I mean, look at what Trump just announced in regards to his education plan. It's essentially escalating what DeSantis is trying to do on a national level. So, do your research, know what people are saying that they're trying to do within the next few years if they get into power. So, but again, let's go back to celebrating Black excellence with the Woman King, because I mean, I love the celebration at the end. I loved John Boyega crowning Naniska the Woman King, which apparently, so in Yuvia's research, she found the film's title comes from the fact that the people at Dahomey believed in a legend of two kings, a man and a woman who are exact equals. And Aniska is expected to be crowned the Woman King, hence why the film isn't simply called the Queen or something similar. That's dope. That's dope. Another thing in the film, Naniska confronts Giesel about the immorality of selling Black slaves to the Portuguese and suggests trading in palm oil production instead. While this conversation is fictional, it's based on the historic fact that the Ogoji favored trading palm oil with the Europeans between 1840 to 1870. Whether they considered it immoral is unclear, especially given their history of participating in slave raids. Slavery in Dahomey persisted after the British Empire stopped Dahomey from continuing in the Atlantic slave trade. The British Empire's Royal Navy successfully blockaded Dahomey's slave trading in the 1840s, which led to Dahomey's two political parties becoming polarized about what to trade. So, we've always, that's the thing is like, when people are pitted against each other, it further divides them and dilutes their power. And that's what a lot of these colonizers do. They divide and conquer.
I mean, it is what it is.
Wait, how do you break down a system that has the best warriors you've ever seen? You destroy the system that controls them, and then there's no direction. It's a free for all at that point. It's crazy, man. But
a nation without structure is basically a nation divided, which is a nation on its way to collapse.
Yep. But nonetheless, I mean, this still like I was very proud when the credits rolled at this movie. I was very proud of like the efforts that the actors did, the creatives. Gina Prince Bythewood, I think she really stepped up in regards to how she films the action sequences. That might have been just like with her collaboration with Polly Morgan, because like I said, the old guard, we were a bit miffy, particularly on the way that the action scenes felt and the editing around them. And this one seemed to like address all those issues we had. And it seemed like she really grew from that experience. And so I was happy to see that. And I'm just happy that people did see this movie. I don't think enough people saw this movie. I'm hoping that eventually people, in the lazy school days where teachers are just like, I'm just going to put on a movie for the kids. Like, obviously not like, anything below high school, but I think this should be shown in high school.
Yeah, I think so too.
Like, what I mean? Like it's violent, yes, but it's not as brutal as a lot of other war movies and shit that.
But you know what? And I also think that, like, obviously with Black History Month, basically right around the corner here, this is an opportunity to show another part of our history, which, like, yes, this is a fictionalized version of it, and such. But this is a part of the history where, like, yes, to a degree, there were Africans which were a part of the slave trade, but they were also begrudgingly a part of the slave trade, because this is a way for them to actually not lose their life or their village on top of that. So in all of this is really more self-preservation, as opposed to just like being a fucking evil tyrant, the way that, Europe was really doing it. Because, like, basically Europe is like, bring us slaves or we destroy you too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just like, well, we don't like these people anyways, so like we'll send them. It's like, that's how these deals worked. And I feel like over the last over years, people have really perverted this into being that, like, oh well, y'all are part of it too, not realizing that these people are just as much victims of that system as anybody else.
Yeah, man. It's a whole vicious cycle, bro.
But also at the same time, not saying that they're right, but it's like, but you have to understand the circumstances of everything. So just, that's my laugh. I'm not going to talk about that in it.
There's nuance. That's
there's a lot of nuance here.
Nuance needed. Yeah, man, these things are complicated. And unfortunately, the people in power that are able to make the change are the wrong people having those conversations and that power.
Yeah.
That's the thing that has been infuriating me about this Viola Davis snub. And let's get into it before we get into our ratings and share some Patriot thoughts. So Viola Davis has been nominated for several awards prior to the Academy Award nominations that were recently released, right? And like, she's been nominated, I think, for SAG, Golden Globes, like the BAFTAs, all these things are typically a precursor for the Oscar nomination. There's an actress named Andrea Rosenborough who was nominated out of nowhere for this small movie from South by Southwest called To Leslie. It stars her and Mark Maron, who I think kind of kicked off this whole like underground Oscar campaign by having her on the podcast. So she was not getting nominated for shit, right? And her movie also had I think it took like $27,000 at the box office. Like, no one saw this thing.
Yeah.
But when you have celebrity friends like who are connected with her agents or whoever, like Jennifer Aniston and Gwyneth Paltrow and Edward Norton and all these people touting, oh my God, this is the best performance I've ever seen. She then took one of the spots that was pretty much thought to be guaranteed for Viola Davis and or Danielle Deadwyler from Till. Right. Fellow Black critic Robert Daniels wrote a fantastic article about the system itself being detrimental to Black talent, particularly Black women in the film industry. Please check it out, folks. It's on the LA Times. I'm going to post it on Patreon. But yeah, this is fucked up. This is because, and we've talked about this in podcasting, Black folks do not have the network or the platforms to get that kind of exposure. For someone to come out of nowhere within a month from a movie that no one had heard about in the industry, like I was one of the few film critics that I know of that actually have seen To Leslie, like in the network that I know. And so it's like, okay, you have all these famous white celebrities pushing for this, but if Black celebrities try to do that for The Woman King or other films, like nothing happens. They wouldn't have this kind of success. And so that's incredibly frustrating. To see that's, essentially, like I said, Gina Prince Bythewood with The Woman King checked off all the precursors that Academy members love about the movies that they nominate an award. It's a war movie. It's a period piece. It has strong protagonists. It has dope action scenes. It's an epic scale. They love all that shit.
Yep.
And then this woman gets promoted by all these rich white celebrities and gets to essentially skip. You know what I mean? Like she skips all that
Yep.
shit.
Yep.
All that process, all that campaigning, all of that just goes right to the front. And I'm not blaming the actress. It's the team. Like she used her network. She tapped into it. It's like, you know, that's
But you know
what
what? But this is the thing. They just created a career for somebody who is relatively unknown.
Mm-hmm.
Think how long it's taken for every actress in this to get to this point where they could get in this film and literally and still be relatively unknown. And you know, like Lasana Lynch, right? Like she, like a lot of people don't know who the fuck she is, right? And after this movie, they still won't know who she is. And you have this person who's relatively unknown is now Oscar campaign is in the Oscar conversation over Viola Davis, who killed this film, and everybody else. And like, so by this movie not being on there, even though you know it's very much it very much should be, just based off of the Viola Davis performance. Now all of those people under in that are supporting her her character in this film, they're not going to get the burn that they should, just by people watching this film and seeing how great that they were. And so it's a whole trickle down effect. So again, you have somebody who's, you know, whether the performance is warranted or not for this other woman for this role, she
it's
jumps
fine.
in.
Yeah.
What's that?
It's fine. It's a good performance, but it didn't stand out amongst. She was never going to win, and so it's like, then why are we doing this?
So she jumps up. By her jumping up, she just pushed a whole cast of film their careers down just a little bit more. And for what?
Yeah.
And like, people don't realize the ramifications of all of this stuff.
Or they just don't care. I think that's the biggest thing with a lot of Academy members. They don't care. They only listen to what their rich friends tell them to do. You know, it's like, I doubt many Academy members actually gave this movie a chance when they got those screeners or invites to screenings. You know what I mean? It's just frustrating. That's all. But the plus side is, not only did we enjoy this movie, but it seems like a lot of our patrons did. And remember, folks, if you sign up for Patreon at patreon.com/medium popcorn, you are guaranteed to have your thoughts or mini reviews of the films we're going to be reviewing read on that episode. So Sean T wrote, I didn't know I was going to like this movie as much as I did. Viola Davis killed it. The whole cast killed it. Great movie. Sid Tobias wrote, love seeing this movie in theaters. Viola needs more epic roles like this. I agree. Shout outs to Lashana Lynch, who played my favorite character in the film. Shouts out to the two white women who got this made as well. LOL. Shrug emoji. CJ Jones wrote, first of all, everyone in this picture was shot beautifully. To your point, Justin. I love the story and choreography in the film. I loved Viola doing this role. Question, it feels like we've been waiting years for John Boyega to pop. Is it ever going to happen? Like I said, I am looking forward to They Clone Tyrone. I think that could be, a thing that takes him to the next level. However, it's a predominantly black cast. It's Jamie Foxx, Tiana Paris, I believe, and John Boyega. So, but it looks dope as hell.
It's a Netflix property,
yeah,
correct?
It looks dope as hell. Yeah, but I do think, and here's the thing, I don't blame him if he doesn't, but I do think if John Boyega were to get like a really meaty Marvel role, that could get him to the next level. But at the same time, I can see him after the experience with Star Wars not really wanting to fuck with that.
Understandable. Disney didn't do him very well. Yeah,
but I can see Disney trying to make it right by giving him a really good MCU role. I can definitely see that.
Honestly, they should have plugged him into Black Panther too.
Maybe.
I mean, only because with with John, Daniel Kaluuya, stepping out, like they could have used that as an opportunity to bring another black actor in, but just looking at the optics of that film and everything,
that would have been a lot of characters.
It would have been a lot. It would have been a lot to do, but I think that obviously also things changed substantially because of the death of Chadwick Boseman and such. So like I think that's kind of null and void that argument, but like I think that could have been a good way to bring him in because it's just the way everything worked out. I think that there could have been something very very good in there for him, especially after seeing him in this role.
I get what you're saying. I just think it would have been too convoluted. I think there was a little bit too many characters in Black Panther Wakanda Forever and stuff going on. Real quick, the army, the warriors from the Woman King that's based off of are at direct influence for the Dora Milaje in the Black Panther series.
Yeah.
For folks that are unaware. But yeah, I think for me, it'd be interesting to see him maybe do something with X-Men, because I'm thinking about I want him to do a character that is well known but also will have longevity. You know what I mean? Like I don't want it to be put in like an Eternals or something like that, because I don't think those niggas are ever coming back.
No.
You know what I mean? Like I want him to be in something that is going to have legs and that he can continue to eat off of while doing the other stuff that really challenges him as an actor.
Yeah.
Because like I said, like when he got Black creatives rooting for him, he won a Golden Globe for Steve McQueen's Small Axe series. Like he was fantastic in that. So it's like, I'm glad that people really stepped up to give him and the other talent in this movie really good roles. We got one more Patriot thought from Ali Johnson, who wrote "Strong Woman Everywhere. This is a solid large popcorn. Viola Davis is a great lead in this film." I agree with that.
So I just want to give my own like take on how I came about this movie as well. So like I've been trying to watch this for quite some time. And then Paul and I, we kind of have like a movie night, things like that. And Paul's just like, it kept getting pushed, put off. She was like, I'm tired. I feel like the movie's gonna be too heavy or things. So we kept on, it kept on getting pushed off. Then we finally watched it, and this is like one of those films that was just like, it was just captivating. And like, yes, this film is an hour, 135 minutes. So like, yeah, it's a longer film, but like it also didn't necessarily feel that way.
No.
And it's just like, and like, bro, like this is just one of those films like you should see. And I was just looking, and she was just like, that was really good. And like, yeah, she was tired and she stayed up through the entire film. She's like, I didn't want to fall asleep on this thing. It's like so invested in it.
Yeah.
And great conversations. It's a great conversation piece as well.
Absolutely.
Conversation starter.
That's a good transition to breaking down our rating system, baby.
All right. So first of all, don't call me baby. I missed it, nigga. So we rate movies bags of popcorn, small, medium, large, and the XL for the exceptional.
That's right.
If a film doesn't deserve any popcorn, we throw it into the dog shit pile. We pile piles and piles of dog shit on top of it. So Brandon, we watched the 2022 film The Woman King, starring Viola Davis. Thusu, I'm gonna fuck up these names. Is a Thusu and Bedu? Yeah, I hope Lasana Lynch. What's that?
I'm letting you do this because I'm known for fucking up some names. So.
Sheila Atim, John Boyega, and Hero Fuentes Tiffin, which is. But I also want to shout out my man that played Malik, Jordan Bolger.
Nigga, that Prince looking nigga. But you also got to shout out Jamie Lawson. Like lordy.
No. I don't want to shout out Jamie Lawson.
Listen,
I'm gonna talk to her a bit. You don't talk to her. You whisper.
Yep.
You whisper. You say,
hey,
Jamie Lawson.
Hey, little girl, come on. Not little girl. Hey, little mama, come on, listen to your ear.
Hey, how you doing, little mama?
That's such a creepy song, man.
It is, but it's
Ying Twins were like, they were always on crack, right? they were always on crack and just giving beats to just ramble, right?
There was a little something in them grills that was just seeping. It was like a slow, it was a slow release into her bloodstream.
A nigga dressed up as Barney was making their ribs and shit. Like they were just like surrounded by madness. But yeah, I give this a large. The performances were really great. The cinematography, the action scenes, the pacing was pretty solid. You know, like I said, there were some parts that could have used a little bit more character development, but for the most part, an incredibly enjoyable movie that I think needs to be shown periodically, especially to Black teenagers that need to see like we're not just, you know, people that were oppressed and didn't fight for our freedom. Like there were moments where we were able to fight back against our oppressors and colonizers and stuff. We didn't always win, but there were times when we were victorious. And I think that's important to know. Because I think Black folks, we hear a lot about like the one or two, like the people on you can count on your hand of like who were able to really exact change and make things happen before, unfortunately, most of them were killed, you know, but you very rarely hear about like Black excellence and victories. And I think that that's something I really appreciate about this movie.
Especially in this time frame.
Yeah. Yeah. So Justin, what about you?
You know, I'm actually torn between the large and an XL here. And because like you said, you know, it's not an overall perfect film. Because there are a few things I'm just like, I think, you know, could have been changed or, you know, presented in a different way. But acting wise, this is a fucking masterclass on how you bring it on screen. It was shot absolutely beautifully. I felt the story, it was pretty tight. I mean, but again, to the script, we could have got a little bit more with Nawi's group and like how that came together. But then again, I imagine they didn't want to have a 3-hour film as opposed to a 2-hour film. So that's why I'm kind of torn between a large and an XL. I think a large would probably be the place to drop it, and it's a really good film, and like I'm glad that I saw it. And I think that this, like I said earlier, this is a conversation starter, and this is a context film to give people a little bit more context into like the slave trade and like what was going on at this time. Because like, like while yes, this is a fictionized version of this, based off of historical fact, history, this does kind of speak to a part of the slave trade that typically is not spoken about.
Absolutely. Well, there you have it, folks. Our review on The Woman King. Please go check out this movie if you have not. Yeah, and you can support the show and follow the show at Medium P Podcast on all social media platforms. Be sure to go over to youtube.com/Medium Popcorn, push that subscribe button, and you can follow me at American Collins, AmericanCollins.com. If you want to learn some Black history, come check out Drunk Black History on Thursday, February 23rd at the Bell House in Brooklyn. We also have live stream tickets available, so check that out at drunkblackhistory.com. And Justin, if people support the show financially, as well as follow you, sir, what can they do?
Well, guys, if you're looking to follow me, Jay Brown did it on all the socials. But if you want to support this show and help take us to the next level, that is patreon.com/medium popcorn. We have $2, $5, $10 packages, as well as the $15 package. And there's so many bonus episodes. Our backlogs are there. There's, mini episodes. And like, if, guys, like, we work to make our Patreon well worth it. And if if you're on the cusp, you're like, I don't know if I would, it was like, try it out,
Yep.
and I'm pretty sure that you're gonna love it. Go ahead,
Speaking
Brandon.
of that, for a limited time, folks, you can sign up for our $2 tier. Try it out for about 6 days, I think. Just get an idea of what we do on Patreon. You get an idea of like the mini episodes and stuff like that. Come and test it out, and hopefully it encourages you to sign up for that tier or higher tiers, which gives you even more access to videos and bonus content. But we really are trying to elevate it, and the more people that sign up for Patreon, the better the show can get. I'll be back in New York pretty soon, and so we're really trying to further enhance the show, and it just helps us go to these film festivals and put the exposure out there and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what we got going on over there. Thank you as always for the support. Also, leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. We haven't gotten one to read in a while.
Yeah.
And also a voicemail, right, Justin?
Yeah, leave that voicemail 347-508-0978.
Chitty chitty bang bang. Clap your hands, stomp your feet, and everyone. Let's just remember the Oscars ain't shit.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oscars
don't listen to white film critics talk about this Viola Davis snub and all this stuff, because these white critics are also been very dismissive about Angela Bassett's nomination. Because they're all like, when I saw Black Panther Wakanda Forever, I wasn't like, Angela Bassett's not only going to get nominated, but when? Fuck you. I just want to say that real quick.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Gold Derby. I said it. All right. Peace out, everybody.
Peace.